Have you ever watched a singer with an incredible voice but felt nothing? Technically, it was incredible, but they had no connection to the music.
I am dead inside.
This is exactly how I used to feel about opera when I was younger. I loved the music and I loved singing, but there was something missing for me, and that missing piece, acting. So today I want to talk about why I believe every singer should study acting. Not just musical theater singers, not just opera, but really anyone who wants to tell a story with their voice. And I'll share my own experience of how I went from wanting to study musical theater in college to falling in love with acting itself. Growing up, I was classically trained in opera. In the middle and high school years, I learned about breath control, resonance, and diction. I really loved it, but I didn't love watching opera, watching arias, or, for example, like the one full opera that I saw in college really bothered me because I thought there was a lot of overacting or very bad acting, and that hurt me to my very core. It honestly made me fairly frustrated because the performances themselves were so incredible, like the skill and the technique were there, but the emotions were not hitting because the acting was bad, and it felt like it was sort of an afterthought. When I reached high school, I started to really fall in love with musical theater songs because I felt like the stories were written that way. Of course, being in English makes it more accessible and easier to understand just from the outside. But there was more of a through line, more of a story, and the performances that I saw were more connected acting-wise. So I really wanted to study musical theater in college. I pursued musical theater programs and really thought that was what I wanted to pursue. But then I took my first acting class. And it was called Acting 1 or something similar to that, just the very basic first level of acting. And I thought, okay, I'll just learn all this basic stuff and get an idea. It's probably going to be really general. And I immediately fell in love with it and realized I'm actually a lot more passionate about this side of things than I am about the music side. So I continued to study opera with an opera teacher in college just because that was what I knew. And I did take some musical theater voice lessons as well because I was still into that, but I still loved singing. I just really wanted to elevate my storytelling and my ability to emote well, accurately, and truthfully and groundedly. Is groundedly a word? You know what I mean, in my music. So whereas I started with really intense technique with really no storytelling being the forefront to putting storytelling at the forefront and learning how to unlearn the technique, if that makes any sense. It's not really about unlearning the technique, but more about not allowing that to be the first thought in your head, but more the fifth thought behind the acting, if you're following. I loved acting because it wasn't just about the emotion. It was about how to best tell the story, how to live under the circumstances truthfully. It was about human behavior, relationships, and the subtext behind every line and every moment. So suddenly everything opened up for me, and I realized that was where I wanted to spend my time and focus. And in relation to music, I started to see music as not just hitting the notes the right way or doing the technique perfectly right, but about really honestly, earnestly, truthfully, more perfectly, in an imperfect way, above all else, telling a good story.
I will not lose, 'cause you can't win. If I didn't believe in you, well, here's where the travelogue ends. If I didn't believe in you, I couldn't have got up before all of our friends and say, this is the life I choose. This is the thing I can't bear to lose. Trip us or trap us, but we refuse to fall.
Here's the thing. Music already does tell a story. The melody, the phrasing, the dynamics, the lyrics, they're all there and cohesive in order to cause an emotion to happen or to share an idea or to get a point across. But if the singer or the performer is not deeply connected to the material, then it's not going to get across to the audience, and the audience is also going to feel that. Think about your favorite singers. What makes them stand out? Of course, they probably sound amazing because they probably do. That's a big, important part of it. But they also make you feel something. People like Judy Garland in the classics, like Barbra Streisand, or contemporary people like Sarah Bareilles, or as we all know and love, Cynthia Erivo. These people are really, really good at telling a story and causing the audience to feel something and being really connected to that through line. Their ability to connect their breath line to the meaning of the phrase is truly expert. They allow themselves to live within the music after having done all the crafting work on the piece, not allowing the music to dictate the meaning.
Enough of being basely tearful. I'll show my noble stuff by being bright and cheerful.
On the other hand, think about performances that feel technically perfect but fell emotionally flat.
At last, oh, the skies above are blue. My heart was wrapped up in clovers. The night I looked at you.
We admire them, but do they actually move us? So if you're a singer and you've never studied acting, I highly recommend it. And I don't just mean watching performances, although that is, of course, a great start because you can start to understand when you watch. I recommend training in theater. So take a scene study class or work on some monologues, even take an improv class, because the idea is that you learn how to react truthfully under these circumstances. And that can only really be done through repetition and then having somebody on the outside giving you really good feedback. One of the biggest lessons that I've learned throughout the years performing as an actor and a singer is that you need to learn how to strip things away. So first you have to learn how to put things on. And then at a certain point, then you're starting to take them away so that you can find what is truthful for you. Over time, that gets easier, but that only comes really with continual practice in the art form and understanding it on a deeper level. So take, for example, like a really dramatic, emotional song. When you're starting out, you're learning how to be really, really emotional about the whole thing, right? So you're going to cry and be really emotive. But the more you work on that song or the more you learn over time in general, the more you understand that it actually is needing to be coming from the inside, a deeper place that is closer to truth than, say, contorting your face or allowing tears to fall out. It's more about finding the truth of it and then fighting those emotions back down. It's a fascinating reversal. So this gets into the nitty-gritty of craft, which we're not going to get into in this video, but I wanted to share with you that this takes a lot of practice. And if this is interesting to you and you find it fascinating, then get yourself into an acting class, study the acting side of it because it's going to inform and really help you elevate your music. And then you'll find that your performances are more compelling and more impactful to the people that you are performing for. In the last 10 years, which I've spent mostly doing Shakespeare and classical plays on the stage, I have found that preparation is the really only way to go with your performing. You have to prepare your monologue or your scene or your song so many times that the words have a much deeper meaning to you. They are essentially in you in a way that they wouldn't be if you had just learned the material. There are sort of 5 steps to this process, as I have found. The first step is learning. And then it's about repetition, which includes exploration and play. Then you start making decisions and sort of stripping away what doesn't work or feel right. And then you have a performance, something that is more finished. So you practice that. And from there, then you can share it with others, tell a story, move people. At the end of the day, whether you're singing opera, musical theater, pop, jazz, whatever your style, acting is what makes your performance memorable. It's what allows you to truly connect with your audience. And for me, studying theater completely transformed the way that I approach music. There is more to that story, including how I found love and joy in music and moved away from just singing like with good technique. And then sort of how I lost the joy and the journey and process to coming back to finding that while also refinding technique. It's been a long, crazy journey, so I am happy to share that if you'd like in another video. Anyway, have you ever felt disconnect between great vocals and great storytelling? Do you think acting is important for singers? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss the next one. In the meantime, I hope you follow your joy and happy practicing.